If you want to install an aftermarket steering wheel on your C5 Corvette with or without a quick release, this is the video for you, so stick around and I'll show you how to do that. All right, what's going on, everybody? We got the NRG leather steering wheel with the red baseball stitching. Of course, it's gold. I got the gold quick release. All these parts, I'm gonna have a link to them in the description of this video. This is the short hub. I already installed the quick release onto the steering wheel, but I will be showing you guys how to do that. So I'm gonna take that apart and show that whole thing. Cup of noodles is there because I promised everybody cup of noodles if I hit 1,000 subs, which we did. We hit 1,000 subs. Somehow, some way, I got to get people these cup of noodles here as a thank you. So I also ordered some resistors. Gonna have to install one of these in the wiring to turn off the airbag lights, since you're gonna be removing that. That is illegal to remove, so just beware of that. This is for off-road use only. So the reason why I'm installing this is because I want to be able to take the steering wheel off so I can put my key in, and since it is a deep dish, it will move it far away from the hydro. First things first, we want to unplug the battery so that look at that two-step, so that the airbag can de-energize. You want to wait 15 minutes minimum. I waited an hour. There are two screws holding in the airbag. They are a T30 Torx bit. One is on the left side, one is on the right side. Best way to get to those is under the steering column. So in order to do that, you're gonna have to turn your wheel. I don't have a column lock because mine was acting up and it's been removed. If you do have it, I would suggest taking the wheels off the ground just to do that, and then putting them back down when you have to tighten up or loosen up the bolt holding on the steering wheel. If you have telescopic steering column, you want to pull that out, and then also leaning the tilt column up will help give you a little bit of room. As a precaution, I'm putting this helmet on because I don't feel like getting hit in the face with this airbag if it goes off. So yeah, if I were you, I'd stand off to the side or something as well. So in order to access the airbag wiring, you're gonna have to get into this knee bolster right here and remove that. There are 4 screws holding it on. There's one under that switch right there. There's one under this little cover for the temp sensor on the interior. I believe it's a T15 Torx screw. Alright, you just want to go ahead and pull on this part, pull right here. This will pop right out. On the other side, since the radio bezel is still tightened somewhat, you're gonna have to wiggle this out. Just take your time. That sensor is wired, and you want to make sure you're really careful with that. I'm removing the airbag now. I did use a longer T30 Torx bit to get the screws out. With the screws out, I slowly lowered the airbag. That yellow wire, which has 2 wires in it, is the one that powers the airbag. So go ahead, pop that clip up, and then remove that plug, and now you are good. The other 2 wires are for the horn. So red is power, black is the ground. The ground is screwed into the steering wheel, so that's a 7mm. I got a ratchet and just loosened that one up, and then with the red one, I went ahead and cut that one. And you want to cut it at a good length because you're gonna have to use it for your aftermarket horn if you are using one. So I'm gonna splice that red wire and add a quick connector on there. That's the bolt holding on the steering wheel. This is the wire to the airbag. So I'm gonna have to put a resistor in that. I can take this helmet off now. Steering wheel bolt on this car is a 21 millimeter. I used an extension and a breaker bar. With the wheels on the ground, the wheel didn't even turn. The bolt just loosened up real easily, and then used a ratchet and got it all the way off. You cannot pull the steering wheel off by hand on here unless you're super strong or something. You're gonna have to use a steering wheel remover or a puller. I went to my local AutoZone and rented this one. This is OEM Tools. That's the part number. The two pieces that I'm using are these two hooks right here. So you want to put them in there. And what I did is I turned it so that it latched on or hooked on. And then you get this and you put it behind the two knobs, and then you put this black screw through the middle and make sure that it's in the pocket of the steering shaft. So what's the most important part of getting this thing off is keeping this thing level and straight so it doesn't eat up your steering shaft. So you want to use two hands, of course, and just take your time. It's gonna make a really loud noise and sound like it broke when it pops off, but it didn't break. You're good. Just keep tightening it up and get it off of there. So of course, since I don't have the column lock, my wheels turned all the way. So when they got all the way to the right, I just kept going. It popped off. I did eat up my steering shaft. That's why I'm giving you guys a warning. I had to just make sure that that stayed level. With the steering wheel off and out of the way, you're gonna need a set of snap ring pliers in order to get this snap ring off of the clock spring. You're gonna have to remove the clock spring in order to get the short hub over the steering shaft and seat it all the way down. I used snap ring pliers and a screwdriver to get up under there. You want to make sure with the clamshell that's around the column, there's a screw inside that's gonna be hard to get. You want to make sure you get it instead of breaking that. I didn't get any video of it, I'm sorry. The clock spring wiring, I cut it. I could have kept it together and just kept this clock spring in the car and taped it up somewhere, but I'm not gonna go with that. I did leave a little bit of wire coming out of there, just in case I do want to reconnect that one day somewhere down the line. So in order to get that airbag light to go off, we're gonna have to connect a 2 ohm resistor to those two wires. I'm gonna do that later. As far as the short hub, you want to get that white dot, aim it towards the top. You want to get that little white hose that had the red wire. You want to make sure that it's coming through that little rectangular box right there. As you can see, the other half of that white tube is removable. It does have a spring. It latches down if you make sure that you turn it in there. I also put on the quick connector, so we're going to connect that to the red to the yellow coming from the quick release. Or if you're just doing your straight up steering wheel with no quick release, you want to go the red to that yellow. Of course, black to black, that grounds it. I put some electrical tape around the red to make sure it doesn't ground in there. And there's a little dot on the quick release hub or adapter here. You want to line that up with that white dot. It's 100 foot-pounds of torque to torque down the short hub. Of course, that's why it was turned to the right, because the wheel's turned. You want to go in a star pattern with the screws right here. You want to make sure that you don't pinch any of the wires in there, and make sure that this mates flush with the short hub. As far as the steering wheel and the other part of the quick release, the wires are the same color and they already have the connectors on them. So you go yellow to yellow, black to black. There's little rubber pieces over that so they won't touch. You don't need to put any tape. Line it up, and then I did the first bolt up top and then the bottom bolt at the bottom, and that's lined up. It's not gonna move around too much. You want to do the same thing, make sure it mates flush with the adapter. As far as the what you call it, airbag light, these are the two wires right here. I pulled them out of the harness after I cut them because there was nothing holding them from being pulled out. I got this resistor kit from Amazon for I think $5. It came with a whole bunch, so there's this many 2-on-1s just in case you mess up. And I got these little butt connectors or whatever you want to call them. I forget the name. So what I'm gonna do is, or what I did, I twisted that together and then put them in there and crimped it or whatever. I know it's not perfect, but it worked. So that's how it's in there right now. Everything's taped up, so that's not going to come apart. And then I went ahead and zip tied it down in there to the harness, and everything's back together. I can now put my key in easily. Here is the quick release. The quick release does stay in when it's removed until it is attached, then it pops out. It does not ding like the 2.0. It is the 2.5. Sorry about that. Horn works. Everything's works. In order to remove it, you pull in on the quick release, and there's a little button that you have to press as a safety feature to make sure you don't just pop your steering wheel off. You need two hands, of course, as you can see. But yeah, everything's working. Here is a demonstration with two hands. You pull in, press the button, and then you can fully pull out the steering wheel. The quick release does stay in, like I said earlier, and then it's gonna take me some getting used to finding that hole. But once it's on there, push in all the way and then turn, and boom, it's locked in, ready to go. That little scratching noise you hear is supposed to go away after a while. That's just rubbing on the inside of the clamshell. As far as, you know, the NRG rumors and everything, steering wheel seems pretty solid. I'm not pulling on it super hard, but I was putting some force on it, and it doesn't seem to be budging at all. It is aftermarket, so, you know, stay safe. It's for off-road use only, of course. Yeah, that's it. It did everything I wanted it, or what I got it for. There's plenty of room between the handbrake. The handbrake is just really close to the windshield washer switch, but it's not fully installed yet until I get the lines in the calipers. But there's plenty of room between the steering wheel. The only thing that I don't like is the blinker. I can't reach it. You know, I have to take my hand pretty much off of the steering wheel to get there, but that's small potatoes. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys on the next one.